special meeting of Cobre Board of Education in the session. It is 5 o'clock. Let the minutes show that Mr. Olguin is not here. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico to see a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Entertain a motion for approval of agenda items.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gomez. Second. Second by Mr. Cordova. Any corrections to the agenda? Call for vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Administration, Mr. Mendoza.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, members of the board, item A is the 21-22 teacher salary schedule. It's an action item. At this time, I'd like Ms. Holden, yes?
You heard the, go ahead.
It is in your packets, the salary schedule is a 1.5 increase from last year's salary schedule.
Can you explain like plus 16, plus 45, plus 17?
It's bachelor's plus 16 hours of
Oh,
college,
so those are hours?
of college credit.
Okay. Okay, that's all I need.
You heard the recommendation, do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Guadiana, second.
Gomez second.
Second by Mr. Gomez. Any other questions, comments on the teacher's salary schedule? Call for vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B.
Item B is idea B, 21-22 application, and it's an action item, and,
Okay, good afternoon, President and members of the board. I included just a little summary. This year's application has to be uploaded to SharePoint, so it's a little finicky in printing charts and things like that. So what I did was I gave you an overview. This year, I was awarded, or were awarded, $365,722 for budget number 24106. That's our K-12 sped budget. The 24109.
Yeah. Excuse. Let me, can Gabe get online?
Gabe's currently on the Google Meet.
Oh, okay, he says he can't hear us.
Yeah, he's on, but he's on Google Meet. This is on YouTube. So. Can you hear the YouTube stream on there? You can? I'm on my phone. Oh, and you can hear it fine? Just because you can hear it.
They're trying to do something here, Gabe, to get you so you can hear us.
That's a YouTube stream. It might just be because the mic's right in the middle. I don't know if you might step a little closer. I'll move it towards, or a little louder.
you want to test? You want us to test it?
So when we go to closed session and he participates, how's that gonna work?
For him participating, we'll have to put the speakers on for you guys to hear, but the screen won't hear.
Yeah, just started.
Yeah.
Either that or there's a phone.
Yeah, or-
We're on
yeah,
item
the
B,
phone's
the IDEA.
Conference phone.
IDEA, yeah.
Yeah, through the phone.
Troy, can he hear me?
Can you hear us now?
Test.
Put a little closer, please.
He says he can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No.
Maybe calling on the conference phone. The screen's running.
No.
Do you want me to try calling him from here?
Yeah.
What's his number?
I need a 911, right?
Yeah.
Ryan.
Okay,
Not a
Joyce is gonna try to call you on the conference room phone. Okay?
Give me his phone.
Okay, he's waiting for your call.
Okay.
She needs a number.
Let me do your help. Let me do it again, please. Just did that.
Hello?
Hi, Mr. Holguin?
Yeah,
Okay, now can you hear?
I got you.
Okay, all right. We're moving the phone to the middle of the room.
Mr. Holguin, can you hear me? It's Melissa.
Yes, I got you.
Okay. All right, so I'll start over. So this year's Idea B, preliminary planning allocation for 24106 was $365,722 $365,722. For 24109, that's my pre-K budget, pre-K sped, only $20,279. So I can do that one first because it's relatively easy. The 24109, we carry 60% of a 3Y IA, sped IA, and then we have to do indirect costs at 3.65%. So that 279 is all encumbered within function 2, function 1, and function 3. So those are pretty easy to do. For the 24106, objective 1, function 1000, in the amount of $194,514. That budget carries 5 IAs, they're sped IAs. Subs for the IAs, for the IEPs, for teachers when they're attending IEPs. Increments for EAs that are level 3. And then this year I had to do a 50% planning allocation for a teacher for our deaf and hard of hearing students. We're going to share a teacher with Silver, and so we're gonna, we've agreed to pay 50% of their salary. So that money is in that line item. Objective 2, which is function 2200, I carry a social worker. 30% of that social worker's salary is on my budget. The contract for diagnosticians for evaluations is on this portion of the budget. We also account for some specialty evaluations that we need, maybe from the Tucson Autism Alliance Center, if we need specialty evals. We also offer work study for our students with IEPs at the high school. They are allowed to work in the district or at some community businesses if they'll have them for 1 to 2 hours a day. It's a pretty good program. This year, looks like we'll have money for up to 10 students to participate if they're able to. Also, this is where my professional development monies is allotted, materials. And then this year I had to do some funding and find a source for recovery services. Due to COVID, throughout the year, we have parents that need extra speech, social work, OT, school psych, even SPED support. That would come out of the recovery services support. And then the last objective on my budget is objective 3, and that pays for kind of support for our special ed students. My special ed clerk is out of that budget. She always has been. The bus contractor with Montoya, they provide us with 2 EAs to be able to transport our high need students, and then our indirect costs come out. So when you add it all up, it was $11,000 less than last year, so I did have to cut some monies from PD and materials. But it all budgets out, you know, in the end it all balances to the $365,722. So there's not much wiggle room. Usually if I do get carryover, then I'll put it back in professional development materials for the students or whatever they need.
Administration recommends that you approve as presented.
You heard the recommendation, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gomez, second? Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cordova. Any questions?
Yeah. This is almost an exercise in futility, but this didn't go through the finance committee.
Yes, all the salaries are already budgeted with the budget, whatever it has. What I was waiting for was the planning allocation that was released, I wanna say after May 18th, to say this is what your monies is, put it on your spreadsheet. So, whether you guys have discussed it in the finance committee, I'm pretty sure, because it's all the different budgets.
Not specifically as to it relates to this bid. It was kind of like in the grand, it was rolled in with all the other numbers, but there was no specific discussion about sped. So again, this did not go through, just voicing my concern and objection that it did not go through. As also the information that you're providing now, I appreciate, and I'm glad that you brought it to more detail than the spreadsheet that we got, which was just numbers. But again, we can't see how much is being spent for the individual salaries, how much is being spent for equipment or whatever else, or support, which is something that kind of, it would be good to know. And it's our responsibility to look at the operation of special education, which nobody has, at least not been presented on, for instance, caseload, success rate, not success rate, the needs for additional support or anything else like that. We haven't seen that, so we really can't make a tie as to the numbers that you're presenting now and the budget you're presenting now are addressing any identified needs, other than a verbal assurance, which is not the level that we should be relying upon. So it is with great objection that I see a continuing diminishing and ignoring the role of the board's responsibility, particularly the finance committee, in reviewing grants, reviewing positions, ensuring the allocations of all positions are funded for appropriately. So I state that as an objection.
Other question? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Please let the minutes show that there was one nay. This moves us to executive session, and I'm going to say right now that we cannot go into executive session to discuss a process. Now, if we're going to mention some names in this process, we can. But to discuss a process for how we're going to select an interim or how we're going to select a superintendent, we cannot go into executive session because that's one of the things that we cannot do. If we're going to mention names, then we can. But if that's the case, just the process, we can't go into executive session.
Then I would mention that mentioning names is not on the agenda.
No, it's
To
not.
add it at this point.
That's why I'm telling you, we cannot go into executive session under this order.
Good, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. President.
So moved.
Yes,
with all
go ahead.
due respect, I'm going to excuse myself. And the rest of you, please, so my members, you will close the doors.
Yeah.
just so you
No,
can-
No, there
call,
was-